Hey, everybody. Thank you so much. Welcome to All Things Business. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tonight, we have a wrap up of our first podcast series. We have all 7 guests on here who did the first series. And just want to let you know our next series will be launched in the month of December. And tonight in the roundtable, we're so glad to have all the guest speakers back to share with you tonight. And I know some of you folks out there in the listening audience gave questions. And I want to say thank you. So tonight we have joined us, just kind of give you a wrap up, Ms. Carrie Roeder, who's a traditional business owner, mom, wife, and a volunteer in the community where she lives. She serves on the Chamber of Commerce board of directors in her city, and she also takes care of her dad. So she's amazing. And Mr. Edmund, what can I say for him? He's up in Oregon today, one sitting up there with a stogie going on, making over $2.6 million in his company annually. Powerful at the young, ripe age of 35, I believe. And we have the Ungers on tonight. They just got back. They travel a lot. They're in Dallas. They just moved from New York City to Dallas. And they are just amazing. They both came from the Eastern Bloc and came and fell in love with each other and built several businesses up in the New York area. I mean, amazing story. And go back to the channel and watch it. Also tonight, we have Miss Sherianna Gafe. She is the founder of the board of directors for the Tampa St. Peter's Board of Directors of Black Chamber of Commerce. She was featured as Outstanding Women of America in 1983. She also was with the State Board of Florida, U.S. Department of Justice investigators. Wow. When we say investigators, we lose a few people. Just kidding. We also have Miss Jocelyn Driscoll today, and she's amazing. She just got back from Wyoming, picking her mom up, who was up there for 4 months at their place. And she's been up there getting her place in Wyoming ready for the ski season. And she just headed back from there the other day. And Jackson Hole caught a plane back. And today she spends time with her grandsons, her grandchildren today. She's also the author of this book that just came out about a month or so ago. And the name of the book is Tapped Out by Tapping In. And I tell you what, you see, I already got my page bent back on stuff I got to re-highlight and reread. So we're so proud to have her here. She's also endorsed my book, my ebook that came out just a couple of weeks ago, God's Gift. It's on my channel. Go to Al Thomas Official and subscribe, and you can listen to the book or you can download it. Not only that, we have another gentleman who I think is an outstanding speaker, one of my favorites at the international conventions, different parts of the world. He's also was an actor, a bartender, he's a family man. He's done such a great job, a phenomenal leader. I just respect him so much. And he does all type of different events. None of the great Mr. Dean Turali there. Good evening, Mr. Dean Turali. Thanks for coming. We also have tonight Mr. Mark Keener, dear friend of mine. We go back some time. Matter of fact, when I first went to Europe, he wanted to stay in my place in Lake Tahoe, do some skiing. And I said, see what you can do. He got me a round trip ticket from the Bay Area all the way to Germany and back, which was a phenomenal price of $216 back in the day. And boy, that was a lot of fun. I tell you, I went by myself. It was a lot of fun. Man. Well, anyway, let me tell you about Mark Keener's background. He is the CEO and managing partner of International Partner LLC. He's an IP LLC real estate investment company. So we're glad to have him. He's got a lot of big apartment buildings, and I'm sure you guys probably watched him on the channel, but we're so glad to have him tonight. And we're going to get down to our first question tonight. And the first question was actually directed to me. So let me get me out of the way so we can enjoy the rest of you. The question to me was, what was the driving force for All Things Business podcast? What got me started was the idea that you have to be evolved to the 21st and the 22nd century, which means when I started in business, we did everything at hotels, eyeball, belly to belly. But now today, everything's on Zoom. I could be in 31 or 38 or even 100 countries in 1 minute or two and broadcast and talk to people all over the world without leaving, traveling, and everything else to go with it. So as I look into it, as getting older, I had to be able to pivot to what the youngsters are doing, because what used to work does not work today. And I found I could reach much more people worldwide with this. And I want to thank Mr. Bree Clemens for bringing it to my attention. I've been hounded to do something like this for years, because I've been at industry for 35 years. I've been at the top of a couple of different companies and done well as an independent, but I wanted to be able to do something different and out of my comfort zone, if you will. And I've been cheered on with a lot of these leaders on the call today from around the world. So thank you. And let's get to the question to the team here, because I want to spotlight them and put them in the spotlight, not so much myself. But we got a question. We got a question. I want you guys to chime in. Question for all of you. Okay, here's a question. You guys can take your time and answer it around, and then we'll go individually. The question for all of you was, what have you gained from being on this podcast? One of the listening audience wants to know. Who wants to tackle that first?
I can go first. I think we gain, first of all, people can see out there that in any age and any time in your life, you can do whatever you want to do. You can restart your career, you can change your career, or you can start all over again. This is very important because a lot of people think when they reach 50, 55, 60, the life is done. But I think with a lot of what's going on today, especially online, people can revamp their career at any age, at any time, and change something that they've been doing for the last 50 years and it's not been working for them. And now they can do something else and learn a new trade. And also, a little exposure for our family through your channel. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And I think because your family and the background they've had, all the business you had in New York City, several of them, and so has your wife had several of them. Now you can come together and work one together from anywhere in the globe. And I see that happening for you guys. Thank you so much. Next, who else want to?
I can say something.
Absolutely.
Jocelyn, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, I think it's such a gift to actually be aligned with you, Mr. Thomason. I truly appreciate all that you have laid out in this platform and what you're doing for others out there, because you're serving people in a way that, I think a lot of people wouldn't even notice that YouTube can do. And you're coming with something different and something powerful that will impact lives. And I think at the end of the day, each and every one of us are out there to impact a life, and it starts one person at a time. And so I think that's what for me, I've gained, is knowing that my voice can mean something to someone and can help serve. And I really appreciate the opportunity to do that with all of you here, and Mr. Thomas, for you launching this platform. So it's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
And I'll chime in also too. I'm going to piggyback a little bit off of what Jocelyn said. Al and I, as he mentioned a little bit, we go way, 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 way back. And so first off, one of the things that he mentioned about skiing, and we've bought ski condos together and skied a lot. This is long before network marketing was in either of our lives. And so I'm here in the San Francisco Bay Area, Oakland specifically. Al is a homeboy from the Bay Area as well, from Oaktown. One of the things that we did when he kind of went in different directions, got involved in a network marketing company, so did I, and did very well. What Al was gracious enough to do was to, as I was trying to stretch that word, as I was climbing the ladder to get to the mountaintop in a different company, Al had already been there. So like Sherpas that guide people to the top of Mount Everest, I sought out Al to give me some guidance and counsel. He had no financial benefit to him whatsoever. I flew him in. He spent a day with me. And that time together was something that, opened up and unleashed a whole nother world for me. I was close. I was right there. But it was just that last little number in the combination lock that was needed to unlock the lock. So I just want to go on record to thank you for that, sir. And also, too, for the listeners, to let them know that, again, piggying back what Jocelyn was saying, that kudos to you for, having the foresight to share these three very important topics, traditional business, real estate, network marketing, so that people can understand that there's wonderful opportunities out there. And even piggybacking on what Stephen said, that, life can begin at 40 or 30 or even 60. So keep on doing what you're doing, and anything I can do to help you, continue messaging and also just sharing my experiences, I'm all yours, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And man, good old times way back when. Who else want to comment? I think
I'd like to chime in and just kind of triple piggyback, however that would be said. Right. Again, as Jocelyn said, to be in alignment and to be the first set in the series, it truly is an honor and a privilege, because we know that you can choose so many people to provide any experiences we have and potential words of wisdom to them, like Jocelyn said, to serve. And like Mark said, just to be able to work alongside you and listen intently. I already have like notes that I've already taken just from even this moment. Because every time you speak, there is something that I glean from. And being a part of this podcast for me, I, like you, I was fighting using the technology. My team keeps telling me to do it. And for those who saw my introduction video into my podcast, I was driving home from visiting my daughter in Santa Barbara. I live up in the Sacramento area, and I didn't quite make it. So I had to kind of pull over and drive my hair down. And but what this has done, it has helped me with my daughter and helping her realize that I was like, Mr. Thomas said there's been over 8,300 views. So I've been like telling her along the way, you know, here's the success that we're having as a family and as a team and everything we have going on. And so being able to breach into a whole new age bracket, because I am 51 and she's turning 20 on Sunday. And so to be able to model for her that you can get out of your comfort zone in order to stretch yourself even more to have the success that it is that you desire. And so I appreciate, and I'm super honored to be a part sharing this virtual stage with all these amazing, successful people, including you, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you so much. Wow. Miss Sharon, your phone's on mute.
Apologies about that. I wanted
There
to
you go.
say that I'm honored to be a part of this initial podcast. It's a tool that I've been using to share information and elevate the information in the cyberspace. I admire all of the people that are here on this podcast. I've looked up to them and gained a lot of wisdom from the information that they've been sharing. And it's just an honor for me to be able to be here, to be amongst these great people. And just like what everybody is saying, I just piggyback on what everybody else is saying, that, you know, just being here is an honor, and being able to be a part of this initial launch of something great. Mr. Thomas, you're doing something amazing. It's not in the industry, but you have championed it, and I appreciate what you've done. And we all can, you know, benefit from what you're doing, and I appreciate you 100%. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. Does anybody else want to chime in, or we'll move to the...
And Mr. T, the only thing I will say is, you know, the platform that you've put together for people, it's great, because not only do we get to, you know, make these kind of relationships and friendships, but leadership starts to develop. Leadership starts to identify themselves when they're in the right environment. And years ago, in this industry, I heard someone say, you know, we'll give you the information so long as you're willing to go get the information from wherever we have it. And obviously back in the day, you know, long before all this technology, that was, you know, referring to events and trainings and conventions and things like that. And that's totally reasonable. If a leader is in an area and you're willing to go to that area, you're going to get the information, and that's great. Now we're able to deliver that, and the person doesn't need to leave their home or their car, hopefully not while they're driving, but you get it. And for you to be able to have really put something together with a bunch of different leaders and you know, representing different industries, I think it's something, as I've said many times on the Zooms that I do with you every other month, is that you know, you just hope people don't take it for granted, because it does take work, time, effort, and energy. And you know, for you to be able to do that, and these other leaders to, you know, to pour into people, I just think is that's the kind of environment that we would want to be a part of. And I know everybody's grateful for you doing that. So
Thank you, Mr. Dean Torelli. Go ahead, Mr. Edmond. I know you're chipping at the bit to say a few words. As you tough on your ditch stogie, I got a couple.
Yes, sir. Super grateful to be here. You know, online, offline, I always pick up some nuggets from Mr. Thomas, and this has been inspiring. It makes me want to step up my game, and it's always nice to, you know, get a little walk down memory lane as we kind of share stories and experiences and perspectives and philosophies. So again, thank you. Super
Thank
grateful.
you. Thank you. Talking to a guy who has over 1.5 million followers, subscribers on, yeah, this guy is amazing. Making $2.6 million a year, driving a Rolls Royce, and sold that one and got another one, and then bought the owner of a certain company, a Ferrari. I mean, this guy's tearing it up. So, all right. With that said, thank you all for your comments on what you gained from this podcast. First question directed to Mr. Mark Keener, and like I say, he could start it, and after he finishes, if you want to chime in, you're more than welcome to. Question to Mark Keener came from the audience. What's the one thing that has been valuable to you in building your business?
The one thing that's been valuable to building a business, in terms of word association, the first thing that sort of comes to mind is attitude, and having a sense of knowing that you have to see it here long before it materializes in some of the apartment buildings that you may see on the wall behind me. So everything that happens in life starts here, this gray matter in between our ears, and making sure that you do not buy into or let other people's noise and nonsense and stupidity and ignorance derail you or knock you off track, because all you have is yourself. And his expression goes, be yourself, because everybody else is already taken up. So why not just continue to pursue whatever it is that you have with passion, relentlessness, non-compromising. And I think that those are some of the things that I think will be foundational to you, regardless of what path that you decide to take. And so that's what sort of fed me well. It took some time to arrive at that point. I didn't come to the world thinking that way, but I got to a point where I was not going to be denied, and I wasn't going to let anybody or anything or whatever stand in my way. And I knew that, spirit, intervention, the universe, the laws of attraction, you can speak it into existence, you be it before you actually realize it. And so those are just, some things that, so I guess all of that you can kind of bundle up into the word, attitude.
Great. Wow. Does anybody else want to share a little bit of that before we move on to the next question? What has been the most valuable for you guys in help building your business? Anybody else want to comment?
I can tell you, Mr. Thomas, that being grateful, first of all, to be, able to have a business and to be able to serve and bring value in any space that I walk in and end up in. We've built multiple businesses, and I think, being valuable and bringing value to others is really important, but it always, for me, starts with being grateful.
Wow. Oh, those are two great answers. Anybody else want to? All right.
Mr. Thomas, I would say encouragement and leadership, being around people that encourage you, that have no financial support towards, or they get no financial anything from you, just giving you encouragement and support and give you words of wisdom that will help you elevate. You don't always get that. I come from an employee background, and you don't get that in the private sector or in the government sector. And so when you have an environment where you have people that encourage you to move forward, and they see value in you, and they see leadership in you, and they encourage you to move forward and champion you on, that's what has helped me stay focused and keep moving forward, because you have people like Miss Roeder, and you have people like Miss Jocelyn Driscoll and Mr. Dean Tirali that will say positive things to you, and of course yourself, Mr. Thomas, that'll just give you that word that you might have not ever heard before, that'll just keep you moving forward. So leadership and encouragement is what I've gained.
Powerful. Thank you. Yeah, I tell people, just be open. You may not get paid on that. Hey, give anyway. You may give on the left hand, don't look for it to come back on the left hand. It may come back on the right hand, but as long as you got an open hand, with a closed fist, you can't give or receive. But the more you open it up, the more God can give you, the more you can receive. So it's always about being a blessing and giving, and also gratitude, very much so. Wow. All right. Next question. We got this directed to you, Ms. Sherion. What challenges have you faced in your business, number one, and how did you overcome them? And everybody else can chime in after she.
Challenges, finding people that are willing to provide encouragement, because you can only encourage yourself so much. You can look in the mirror and say, I can do this, I can do it. But when you have someone else that tell you that you can do it, it means a whole lot. When you have someone that's earning a whole lot of money and telling you that they see greatness in you, that help you move forward in your business. And like Mr. Terali was saying, getting the information and going to where the information is and making yourself available, getting over those roadblocks that you might have. If you put yourself in the environment that's going to encourage you, and being around people, changing your environment, and it'll keep you going. That's how I got over my challenges, to stay plugged in, go to events that's going to encourage me, inspire me, and keep me looking at the end goal. The prize is at the end of the race. If you quit in the middle, you'll never get there. So just being around people that encourage me, keep my eye on the prize, and have faith in God, because my strength comes from God. And without him, I would be nothing, and saying my Psalms 91 and my Proverbs every day, that's what kept me grounded. It's keeping me grounded.
Yeah. There's a book of Proverbs, 31 books, one for every day of the month, and you start over again. You can read it next month, the same date, and it's a whole different meaning to it.
Yes.
So true. God, that's powerful. Anybody else want to chime in? What challenges have you faced in your business, and how did you overcome them? Edmund, that's a good question. I want to throw that at you, sir, because you got a lot of challenges you had to go through.
Yeah, I mean, challenges, come every single day in all different forms. And a lot of people, I mean, all my 20s, I pretty much ran from them. And part of entrepreneurship is just overcoming obstacles. There's always a way if you've got the right attitude, and if you come from an attitude of gratitude, and if you're looking for solutions. And I believe in productive activity over personal development. There's a time and place for everything, but an hour in the field beats 40 hours in the classroom. And sometimes you just got to get to work. The work is a great separator, and just turning to leadership and mentorship, which oftentimes I find, the greatest mentorship is like the one, that you've provided for me, Mr. Thomas, over the years, where there's no direct correlation of financial gain. But, learning from your own experiences is what I've always done, and learning from other people's experiences is wisdom. And I try to focus more and more on doing that, especially as the challenges and obstacles keep coming.
Yeah, thank you. Matter of fact, he followed me for years and years and decades, and then we finally got a chance to meet, and there we have it. Who else want to challenge on that question? What challenges have you faced in your business, and how did you overcome them? Anybody else want to try at that before we move on to the next question?
I think one of the biggest challenges is personal development, even in conventional business, to become somebody people want to do business with or people want to work for. But what I've learned in network marketing business, that I have a lot of mentors that probably some of them don't know that they are my mentors. And I learned from a lot of people like you, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Terali, even Miss Jocelyn, I'm sorry, she doesn't even know, but she inspired me 6 years ago at a private training when I heard her story. It was in Cleveland, Ohio, as a matter of fact, six years ago. And I saw a business owner that done something in this industry without any problem. And then it inspired me to build, network marketing business. So there's a lot of people that push me every day, and I listen to every day. That makes me better.
Yeah. She doesn't realize how many thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people is going to get blessed by this book, not just in the United States, but globally. And that's what I'm saying. They will read about her and don't even know it, but respect and then learn from her through what she put it here. Before we move on, Mr. Unser, will you please, you and your lovely wife, just name off some of the business and how many employees you had back in New York. Just tell us the name of the business, just what business it was, how many employees, next business, how many employees, and how long. Just kind of roughly. I want our audience to know.
I'll make it fast. Most of my businesses in Europe were transportation companies, but we were located per neighborhood. So if you take the whole company altogether, we had at some point 150 vehicles on the road and over 200 employees between dispatchers, billers. We had our own gas station, our own repair shop, because we had to keep everything in-house, not to be in a waiting line to fill up a car, not to be in a waiting line to fix the vehicle. So the vehicle can come out to work right away. We've been involved in some spa businesses, cryotherapies, but before, right after I saw network marketing businesses, my wife got involved, and she's gonna talk about that. She got involved in franchises. So she's not a great fitness franchise, which we thought is going to be a system, is going to be a walk in the park.
But that's what I wanted to add a little bit. So any business,
Please do.
any business has a lot of obstacles, especially coming from the conventional business background.
Kind of scoot into the frame here a little bit. There we go.
I'm here.
You can push them over a little bit.
So coming from conventional business ownership, comparing the hurdles and challenges of conventional business ownership versus network marketing ownership is definitely, the problems are not that big and not that great. But any business has problems, any business has obstacles. So for me, for example, was to probably learn how to take no for an answer. As we first start network marketing, it was difficult. It was difficult, I'm not gonna lie. But it takes certain mindset, and that's also a big deal. You got to develop a non-negotiable attitude, you got to develop posture, and you have to have a proper mindset. Okay, to take no with the same smile as you take yes.
Excellent answer. I always say if you take the N-O, no, flip it upside down, it means on to the next one. Anybody else want to tackle that?
I'll just give one other quick comment about the Think Challenges, and a comment I'm going to say that I think all in the line are familiar with, in the sense that one of the best things about business are people, and one of the worst things about business are people. And so be prepared that whatever you do, you're going to have people challenges. And someone once said that, there's not a whole lot of mean people in the world. There's 7 billion people in the world, but in the whole world, there's really only about 10 people who are nasty, scummy, ruthless, despicable, disgusting people. But the funny thing about this, those 10 people, they move around quite a bit. So don't get discouraged by the number of by the people challenges that you're going to have in this business, because it's going to be a challenging point, but it's also going to be one of the most enjoyable, rewarding things, because none of us can do anything in the world or in life without involving other people.
That's so true. People make the world go round. That's so true. Anybody else want to comment before we move to our next question? All right. Edmund, this question was directed to you, and you guys can chime in as well. The question was to you, sir. What's your next goal? That's a good one.
I have a
That's
dream.
a good one.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger goal, my dream is to march to 1 billion, to do 1 billion a year. So everything almost, aligns with that daily. It's whether I get there 3 years from now or 30 years from now, I'm enjoying the journey and the process every day, and trying to practice a lot of the philosophies that are being shared here right now on this live stream.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good answer. Who else want to challenge that? What's your next goal? Who wants to challenge that one? Wow. Oh, you guys are shy now, huh? Okay. I got 7 big heavy hitters on this call from all over the United States, and they're shy right now. This is funny. All right, Ms. Driscoll. Come on, Ms. Driscoll. You hit one of your big ones, a milestone. I know it's not stopping here. I see the banner in the back. I see the clothes you got started. And come on, what is your next goal, young lady?
Well, I already started my second book, so that goal will be completed by the middle of next year or sooner. That's a children's Christian book, so I'm excited about that.
Wow.
Specific to my husband, so it's going to be incredible. And again, I'm going to go back to impact. I really have huge goals to impact 8.1 billion people in this world. And the way I'm going to do that is by starting with one person. And that's by having more conversations every single day. And just challenging myself to talk to as many people as I can, because not only will you grow your business, but you're going to grow a life, and you're going to make a difference there where, we just have every opportunity today. Today doesn't look so good in some cases. I try not to look at that in this world. I don't turn on the news because my news is in my house, and I don't worry about the White House. And if I'm doing my part and I'm out there, just caring about people, serving people, and bringing a business platform that to me is one of the greatest that you'll ever see in this world. And I stand by that. But all the things, because of the alignments like you, Mr. Thomas, all those other dreams and gifts that God gave me have become activated. And there's so much that I could share here. And never stop dreaming, never stop setting goals. I'm going to be 60 this year. That's incredible to even say. And I have 3 beautiful grandkids, and I want to be the example for them to know that they can do anything they set their mind to, because they're created in God's image, and they have so many gifts to unlock. And I'm just grateful to be able to be here in this space and really make a difference in this world and be an impact.
Thank you, dear. Wow. Well, I'm looking down at our questions. Okay. Wonderful. Man. Miss Carrie Roeder, question for you, young lady. How do you strategize for your next win?
Wow, that's a great question. And I was actually going to unmute and kind of piggyback. So some of you have heard us say this. So Miss Jocelyn Driscoll, the beautiful blonde you just saw, we are sisters. We have different hair colors and different heights, but we're sisters. And along the lines of what she was saying is, I've always wanted to change the world. I actually got my BA and my master's in psychology. And before my daughter, I was a practitioner in mental health. And I was really focused on one person at a time, just physically saving lives in the psych hospital and all that. But always wanting to do the butterfly effect. And when my daughter was born 20 years ago Sunday, I took 5 months off from that field. And when I went back, I realized I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to focus in on my kiddo. And then 14 years ago, I found network marketing, and I realized I could build business and be super mom. And so I've always wanted to change the world. And so I love that, not just in network marketing, but in all the community stuff I do. I started a little youth volleyball club, right? My goal is to have a true butterfly effect. One smile at the right person at the right time could absolutely change their life. I get the chills saying this. And so I want to change the world as well. And I know that I won't always see the end results of how that smile impacted that person at the right time, or how that compliment, or how holding up a mirror to somebody who's lacking confidence to say, I believe in you. That's really that's why I wake up in the morning. And that's where, when I go to bed at night, I thank God for whatever impact I could have made on anybody and didn't even know, and that the butterfly effect continues. But as far as putting the next challenge together, right? That was the question.
How do you strategize for your next win? With strategy.
Strategize for my next win. I on my desk, I have a little saying from the president of our company that your success is based on your daily activity. And so we were talking with Edmund about what his next big goal is, right? And so I actually have already set out my financial goal for 2026. Okay. And I recognize that in 2025, I have to do so much production to reach that 2026 goal. Well, we're in the third quarter of 2024. And so this is really where it starts. And so in that strategy, I have my big goal And then I broke it down, I'm breaking it down into my smaller goals and then into my monthly activity, my weekly activity, my daily activity. And then along the lines of what Mark was saying is that, you know, your mindset and not buying into all that nonsense. Here's a saying. My dad is a Vietnam War vet and he did some awful things there. And when he came home, he was addicted to drugs, unfortunately, because that's just what was happening with the soldiers in Vietnam. And with the help of my mom, he got sober, became a law enforcement officer. And he would always say that you're entitled to a bad moment, but not a bad day. When something happens in your day and it's not good, fine, get through it, push through it, and then move on and let it go. Don't carry it with you to the lunch table. Don't carry it with you to dinner. Don't carry it with you to the next day. Move on. And so in strategizing, I really try to, and I'm doing a dream board, right? So I can visualize it and see it. But the bigger goal broken down into other, you know, time frame chunks, and then broken down into the daily, eventually the daily activity. And then like Edmund said, the personal accountability. You know, it's you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror every night or every morning when you're brushing your teeth and just say, you know, did I do what I set out to do? And if you didn't get it all done, give yourself grace, because we all get busy, we all get distracted, and just put your right attitude on and put your best foot forward the next day to work hard to get everything done that you need to get done.
So what you're saying is Carrie should not carry this stuff bad forward. All right, Mr. Dean Duralian, what do you think about that? How do you strategize for your next win?
Well, I think it's such a great question. And I think it is, the secret's always found, I would say, in consistency, right? So what is somebody willing to do on a daily basis and become unemotionally attached to people's responses? Yeses or nos, ins or outs, interested or not. So I would say the secret lies in being consistent, where if you're having a really good day and people are open to hearing about what it is that you're doing, maybe people are being your customer, you have some great follow-ups, or a day where, you know, I'm sure this has never happened to anybody else, that you've gotten ghosted. That's happened to me, but I'm sure nobody else has ever experienced that. Where you just keep it, you just highs not too high, lows not too low. And it's so hard in a conversation like this, but you know, if you've been around this industry long enough, you hear things that just sound so cliche. It's like, oh, I've heard this, but the cliches are based in truth. Like there's truth in these things. It's just a way to get the message across. So when we say, don't let the highs get too high, don't let the lows get too low, keep it even keel, on to the next, you know, the windshield's bigger than the rear view mirror and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what I would say is the secret, is just being consistent.
Thank you. I love what you just said. I wrote that down. And I think audience, I want to say this, what he said was being unemotional, detached. So many times we're so detached to the outcome of what they say. I know, and like I say, take the no and flip it upside down means on to the next person. So I thank you for that. I wrote that in my notes. Be unemotional, detached, not detached from it. I love that. All right, let's move to the next question. If anybody else want to chime in, the next question. Gosh, Ms. Johnson also kind of answered that. What's your next big move in business? So she kind of already addressed that question. So let's do this. Let's go to the Ungers. What was the most difficult thing when you started in your network marketing industry or business? What was the most difficult thing when you started in your network marketing business or in the industry?
I'm going to tell you, I think one of the most difficult things for me emotionally was we were pretty successful conventional business owners. And I thought when I saw the information, I got so excited and I got so pumped, and I came home. And first of all, my wife told me to go take a hike with this business, just to begin with, literally, because she was very busy with her franchise, although she came on board a month later and never looked back. But I thought that I'm going to call all the people that I know in New York. A lot of them are business owners, successful business owners. And they're all going to come to me, and we're all going to build nice and big team, and we're going to kill it in the next 6 months, you know. but it was not the case. Although a lot of them became our customers. They did support us in business, but a lot of people told us no. And to me, in the first 30 to 60 days was the biggest challenge mentally to see that people that want to become our partners, want to become investors in our next venture and write a check of $100,000 in a heartbeat, told us no for this network marketing company. And the same people that were running around us when Ina was opening a franchise, Steven, I would like to be a silent partner. Let me write you a check. I want some passive income because I have a full-time job. Same people that were ready to write us a $50,000 or $100,000 check told us no for this business on this business. So to me, it was the biggest problem. But again, I built an attitude of taking a no with a smile. I read a book right away, Go for a No, and never looked back personally.
I love it.
So
Ms. Unger?
for me, it took me a little while, although I was on board, when I saw the first presentation, the full presentation, I said it's no-brainer. So I wasn't bored with the business months later. But for me, the most difficult was to develop the non-negotiable attitude, to have a complete 100% belief in the business. It took me a little while because if you don't have 100% belief in the business, you can't spread the word. You cannot bless people. You just can't, because it does not come out very natural, does not come out organically. Okay. So it took me a little while to have a non-negotiable belief in the business. And it was the most difficult, I would say, for me to develop from the get-go, from the beginning of the business.
Wow. It's amazing how and I believe in this so heartily. I've told us it's easier to get big money out of people than little bitty trinkets out of people. People will write a check for $100,000 without thought about it. And then you talk about a couple dollars starting network market. Huh? What? Anybody else want to chime in on the question? What is the most difficult thing that when you started your network marketing on your business, period?
Mr. Thomas,
Yes, dear.
I would have to say changing from being an entrepreneur from being a federal investigator. Okay. Because a lot of people were intimidated because of that term. And I had to really do a lot of self-development and mindset changing and project myself in a way that I could talk to people about business, as opposed to feeling like I've intimidated someone. And I just had to do a lot of personal development and mindset training for myself. That was the most difficult. And it took me a while for that,
Wow.
But in the meanwhile, I was still plugging in because I thought that the environment was so much different than what I was used to. And it was so refreshing that, it helped me transition from being an intimidator to an educator.
That's perfect. Knowing me, I hate to say it, guys, forgive me for saying this, but I don't want some of my haters to say, look, if you don't do this, I'm investigating you. No, I'm just joking. Intimidated me to it.
I'd love
Just
to
kidding,
chime in
just
if you don't mind, Mr. Thomas.
Who else want to chime in?
I'd love to chime in if you don't mind. So along the lines of Steven, when I was introduced to network marketing, my husband and I owned a corporation with 4 businesses in it. It was 2010. We survived 2007, 8, 9. We kept our house. We kept our business as a result of working 7 days a week. But I, like Steven, I was like, I'm on the board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce. Like, everyone's going to want to do this with me, right? And people were like, what? And so I had to get over that, but then I did quickly. And as I was going, so back, we do Saturday morning trainings, right? I have a huge family on my Filipino side. So obviously with the big family, every weekend, there's some sort of birthday or wedding or, something. And so we have Saturday morning trainings, and I understood, like Dean said, consistency, right? I had to go get the information. Where I went to go get the information was Saturday morning trainings, because I wasn't a trainer yet. And then I became a trainer. But I was missing events, or I would be late to events. And people were kind of snickering about it. And my sister-in-law she did not mean it mean, but she kind of pulled me aside one day. She goes, Karen, you're missing a lot of events, or you're late because you have your training. And I said, Joanne, I said, can I ask you a question? I said, if I were a cop or a doctor or a nurse, and I had to work a Saturday morning shift, and that was non-negotiable. And before I could even finish my question, she goes, I am so sorry. You're right. I said, yeah, this is how I'm choosing to take care of my daughter and create a legacy. So thank you for understanding. And I'll tell you what, she has been my biggest supporter and fan, and absolutely supports me. No, she schedules dinners knowing that I have something to do, so that I could be there. So because I had the oomph to be able to stand up for myself and say, no, this is what I'm choosing to do, she loved me enough to support me.
Oh, wow. That's powerful. And you know what? I wish more and more people would understand what you just said to that person, to say, okay, you're right. Because if they called me on a job, I would have to go. So isn't it amazing that they think this is small time? Anyway, I love it. I did not know you were Filipino background. ¿Cómo está acá? Do you speak Tagalog?
No, I
Okay.
looked the part.
Okay. Who else want to chime in? What was the most difficult thing? What's the most difficult thing happened when you started your network marketing or just your business? Anybody want to chime in? Come on, Mr. Edmond. I know you got a story.
Yeah. So yeah, I was 19 years old. I was a personal trainer for $12 an hour, 24-hour fitness, and I had no credibility, and I was super shy. I couldn't speak in front of people without turning red and shaking, and just having like a crackling voice. So I had the delusional optimism, but I lacked the competence, the skill set, and I owe everything to network marketing because I got exposed to philosophies, and a lot of them went right over my head. I talked myself out of the opportunity constantly. I listened to the noise. Nobody supported it or believed in it from my just upbringing. My parents believe in going to school and getting good grades and getting a good job, and a lot of kids I went to school with were the same way. So I didn't really make any money my first 10 years, but I got exposed to the philosophies. I was able to dream temporarily, and I would tell anybody out there, you just got to take some accountability for where you're at. And once you're able to bring value to the marketplace, like Jocelyn talked about, then you'll get compensated. And I kept telling myself, the more I grow, the more my income grows, and I have an opportunity to get paid what I'm worth. And I just got to put in the work. But yeah, starting out, especially if you're young, and that's your network, it can be a little bit challenging. And I would say take it head on, embrace it, and look forward to acquiring the skill set. And hopefully you keep that up, that delusional optimism, and you believe that if other people can do it, you can do it too. If you're willing to do what they did, you'll get what they got. Back to you.
Wow. Yeah. I remember there was nights you had to get to the hotel, and the hotel had bed bugs, and you had to get out of there, and you had no money. Tell that story real quick if you don't mind.
Yeah, the second month in the new venture, I was 30 years old. I was in the NFL club, no friends left, no funds left. My parents were like, when is enough enough? When are you just going to face the music? When are you going to go back to school, take over the family clinic? And sure enough, second month in, 9 days into the second month, completely out of money. And it's 1 a.m, and I'm at the Best Western Plus in NoCal, and I find out there's bed bugs, and I switch rooms. There's still bed bugs, and I definitely quit, tried, and somehow picked myself back up in the morning and kept going, and ended up breaking a company record that month. And there's always a way if your back is against the wall. Comfort's the killer of success. If there's no other way forward, but just to do the work, you're gonna do it. My parents were like, told you this wouldn't work, come home. There was every reason to just throw in the towel and give up. And it's so funny how there's so many people today that are like, we always believed in you, you can do it, but we can't, blah, 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 blah. But in that moment, it's like your closest friends and family, it's not that they don't wish you well, it's just they don't even believe it's possible. So the negativity is there, and the support isn't there. Whereas if I was willing to go to school, they would have, financially helped out. But I was $49 short, and nobody came through. but there's always a way, right? You want to have $49 problems for the rest of your life. You want to have $500 problems, $5,000 problems, $50,000 problems. Become bigger than those problems. Back to you,
Wow.
Al.
Wow, wow, wow. By the way, his parents, they're doctors, so their education and they're, oh, no, go back, we'll take care of you. We'll send you to school, we'll take care of you. Traditional, he says, no, 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 no. So he fought it all the way. Isn't it amazing how when you become successful, everybody knew you could make it, but they don't see it for themselves, but I knew you could do it. That's crazy. All right, our last question for the night, and we're going to direct this to Mr. Dean Turali. The question came in, and after he gives this, you guys can chime in if you want to, if you like to. Mr. Dean Turali, the question to you, sir, is addressed at what is the most rewarding thing or things to you in your network marketing business? I think I can answer that. When he just bought his wife a little ranch up there in Oregon, so she can have her horses run free around the ducks in the pond.
So that's funny. So I'll give you guys an idea. So go ahead and ask the question again. Just ask it again, and I'll give you the answer.
What is the most rewarding thing or things to you in your network marketing business?
Getting my time back.
Wow.
That's 1A. And 1B would be getting people promoted on the team. Because 1A happens as a result of 1B. So the reason I'm saying that is, what a genius design that this industry has. That you can only win if your team wins. How great. And Al, I've said this on your calls for the last 52 years that I've done them. And you can't win by yourself. I mean, you can, but that's hard. And, you're celebrating by yourself, and it's going to take 20, 30, 40 years longer than it would with a team. But now when you have a team, the thing I think is this, right? In traditional business, you have to hide your best stuff. You can share your really good stuff, but if you share your best stuff, someone could gather your information, because that's the old phrase, I'm working here for experience. Well, working here for experience means that you're working here to gather information and go off and do with it what you want to do with it. Whereas in our business, there's no incentive for you to leave. There's an incentive for you to stay, because now it's a safe space, right? In what I've come to learn in the network marketing world, you're always in a safe space. And the reason why I say that is you're always going to have an upline to guide, teach, and help you. And then you're going to have a downline that's looking for you for that guidance, teaching, and help. So you're kind of in a safe space. So the only way to succeed, the only way to win, the only way to advance your business is for other people to advance. So number one would be my time. I'll tell one quick story if you want to hear it. If not, it's no big deal. The other thing is that can only happen by helping people on your team, help them be able to do what you do. And when that happens, you win in a big way. So that's what I would say.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Does anybody else want to comment? It's our last question of the night. Anybody want to piggyback off that question? What's the most rewarding thing or things in your network marketing business?
Oh, fine. I'll tell the story. Nobody's talking. Fine.
I was gonna say, Dean,
What were you going to say, Jocelyn?
I was gonna say, Dean, I ditto exactly what you said, because you know what, the life that I have today, I don't know where I would be without having my time back. And that is the most valuable asset you can have, is time. And I think it's the commodity that most people do not have. And so you can have a network marketing business created in and around what you're doing already, which is what my husband and I did when we first started. I was a hairdresser for 27 years. My husband was a general contractor, and, you know, knowing this industry zero, but we had the mentorship, as Mr. Tirali talked about, someone to show us how to do it, and we were just coachable, and to just be consistent and work at the business. Over time, you get your time back. And, you know, to be where I am today, I'm so grateful for the business platform that we have, and how we can have time and money.
Wow.
That's a really big commodity. So thank you, Dean, for being the one to now tell your story.
Yeah, time and money together, you can't beat that.
No.
It's true. I'll give you the abridged version. Years ago, so my daughter, she's probably in the 6th grade, something like that, and her class was having a project day, and it was really simple. The project day was the parents would come to class, and you would make it was geography. So you get a piece of cardboard, and everybody got clay and paint, and you had to make the, you know, landscapes. They call it topography, right? Meadows and streams and plateaus and streams and water and ponds and stuff. So that's what you do. You put the clay on there, you cut the cardboard, put the clay, make it up, paint it and everything. And it was great. Ours was the best. Anyway, that's another conversation. So, just playing. So here's what happened. Can't make it up. It was the middle of the week. It was a Tuesday or Wednesday at whatever, 11 a.m. And my daughter asked me if I would do it. And I said, yeah. So we went there and we got to make our project, and it was great. And at the end, the teacher, who was lovely, she said to everyone, she said, boys and girls, grab your seats. And they did. And she said, can we just take a second and thank all the moms who were here to help us today? And I remember where my daughter was. She was sitting like right over there. And I kind of looked at her and I went, and she went. And so the teacher caught us doing that. And the teacher said, you guys, we need to do this again. Can we thank all the moms and the dad who was here today? And I wouldn't trade that for anything. And that would probably not have happened, you know, with a traditional job and a boss. Not that it couldn't have happened, but, you know, I don't really want to ask permission to not, you know, I don't want to ask permission to be at an event for my family. And that type of freedom, you know, work when most people won't, so you don't have to work when most people will. That's one of the things that can happen in our business. So anyway, that's a little fun story, and appreciate being on here with you guys.
Appreciate it so much, Mr. Dean. That's a
Can I
good
add
story.
something? Can I add?
I thought, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to, first of all, whatever Dean said, I second that, and Jocelyn as well. But I'll tell you, obviously through our businesses, we never missed any kids' activities, any school stuff. I was always there. I was always available to drive my kids to any activities. But network marketing, what I got outside of, like I said, what Dean said and Jocelyn, I think when we looked at each other 5 years ago, and we've decided that Ina is going to be selling her fitness franchise because of our network marketing business, and she doesn't have to be there at 5 a.m. and she doesn't have to be there at 10 p.m. was the biggest leverage for me. And the second thing is happening right now, where my oldest daughter, who is she's a very successful attorney, she's a mom, everything is nice and dandy, but she came to us and said, guys, I'm ready to build this business with you now because I want to have more kids. I want to have more freedom. I don't want to be an attorney when I want to be an attorney, not when my boss wants me to be an attorney. So I think this is one of the biggest leverages we're getting right now through our family.
And I just want to add a little bit. I'm definitely the first and foremost is the time freedom, because even when you own your own businesses, you tied up as much as when you work for somebody. If the boss is not in the office, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But the second thing I want to say is to work with like-minded people. I think it's the best blessing in this business, because you don't have employees, you don't have bosses, you work constantly with like-minded people. And I think it's the best value and it's the best blessing when you in network marketing. Everybody's going towards the same goal and everybody's helping each other. I think it's powerful.
That's powerful. I think when you have a traditional business, you don't actually own it. It owns you.
100%.
Now, I want the rest of you to chime in. I'm gonna throw my little 2 cent story in there, and Sister Dean Torelli threw his in there. You brought back memories when I used to go to my daughter's field trips at the private school she went to here in Vegas called the Meadows. Both my kids went through there. It cost me a fortune, trust me. And I remember I would be the only dad on the yellow bus going on field trips with all these moms. And let me give you an idea. The chancellor of the school is the mayor of here, Vegas, and her husband. And I mean, all the high-powered attorneys and doctors and yada, yada, yadas, goes to this school. And so they would always say, well, who is this guy when I get on the bus? And one of the ladies kept saying, well, we see all the field trips. And they were really curious because their husbands are doctors and lawyers. They can never get away. So 3 of them approached me one day, like a little gang of them came over to me, like, we always see you. Who are? And so they said, what do you do that you can, and it kind of had a little attitude. What do you do that you can afford to go on these field trips and our husbands can't do it? And I was trying to think of something. I said, what would Jabri Clemens say? I said, oh, I'm a mailman. Just to throw them off the scent. It was so funny to me to see their reactions. I know they're probably thinking, how can a mailman afford 2 kids in this school? But anyway, who else want to chime in real quickly? Everybody gets the chance before we get off the call here. What's the most rewarding thing or things for you in building your business? Anybody else want to chime in?
I would just duplicate what has already been said, the time freedom and the service to others, and being able to watch the joy of other people being recognized, other people saying, I got my direct deposit, or back when we first started, I got my check on Friday, right? So in the mail. And so just to be able to be like, I think Sherry or maybe Ina said it, but being around like-minded people and being able to really push myself by being on a platform like this with other successful people makes me want to be even, push myself to be even more successful, be an even better role model for my daughter than I have been by serving other people and watching their success. I can turn to her and say, see, babe, when you help other people, it just comes back your direction. So.
Awesome. Anybody else want to chime in before we close it out tonight?
For me, it's just it's just realizing that all the philosophies really are true, right? And turning your haters into fans. For me, it was my parents, and being able to fulfill the promises. I remember being 12 years old and my dad really wanted a Porsche and never gave himself, never justified it, never did it. And I was like, one day I'm going to buy you a Porsche, and he just laughed. And sure enough, at a point with 1 week's income, I was able to do that. Just being able to help those around you that never really thought it was possible, and then allowing yourself to dream on a different level, right? Once you hit your goals, you outgrow your goals, and there's always going to be that new thing you're excited about. And most of the time, it's no longer something materialistic because you've treated yourself to all that and the experiences. And I'm just super grateful that it's actually all real, right? And if you believe it's real, and if you actually apply yourself, it might not happen overnight. I don't know about too many overnight successes. We hear a lot of stories. I feel like I'm maybe a 15-year overnight success. And if you identify as more and, maybe a millionaire, whatever it is, and you want to make 3,000 a day, 10,000 a day, whatever your magic number is right now, and it'll change as you hit it. I believe if you're acting and working like you're making that today, eventually it all catches up. And if you believe that, I mean, my first years in this newest venture, were not very successful years. They weren't very fruitful. But if you look back at cumulative since day one, I've made more than 4,000 a day in the business I'm in. And I'm grateful for that because it all works out if you keep going and if you never quit. And there's so many opportunities to quit, and you can listen to the birds. The birds only get to the weak, and they will convince you to quit each and every single day. A lot of people talked about environment here. Your will never exceed your environment. Create a winning environment, protect it, guard it at all costs. Back to you, Thomas.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all our speakers, all 7 of you tonight. Thank you for the first series. God, this has been amazing. I'd like to thank Miss Carrie Roeder out there in Sacramento area. Mr. Edmund, he's up in Oregon today. And the Ungers are back in Dallas, Texas. And Miss Sherion's down in Florida. I'll see you in a couple days. And Miss Jocelyn Driscoll, she's bouncing between Wyoming and California out there with a pizza kitchen oven out in the backyard doing some nice pizzas. Mr. Dean Torelli, my dear friend up in Oregon, he may be in Southern California because he's bought his wife this beautiful place for horses to run around. And I want to thank my dear friend Mr. Mark Keener for going way back. Oh my God, do we have some time? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time tonight. Our next series will be coming out in December for those that are watching with us right now on live. And if you want to go and listen to any of these, go to althomasofficial.com. And I want you to also go there and get my book. If you have not listened to it, it's only 18 minutes and some change, or you can download it to the book session. It's God's Gifts. And I want to thank everybody tonight who was on the call tonight. Remember, this channel is about business, whether it's network marketing, real estate, or just business, because we're here to help you build. And with that said, we want to thank every one of you out there. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for coming back with our reunion for the first series. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. See each and every one of you. God bless you. Thank you out there. Mr. Bree Clemens, thank you so much for handling the back end. Guys, we couldn't have did it without you guys. So thank you. And I know this is going to bless a lot of people. Thank you so much.